if you're thinking about investing in property, know this: the larger you build your property portfolio, the more options you will give yourself. Now, me and my wife, we have an 11 property portfolio, and having that many properties gives us a lot of options to create more wealth. So when you have one or two properties, you can create wealth from that, but effectively the more properties you have, the larger the asset base, the more opportunities you will have to create wealth. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, for example, like building a property portfolio, you have to use your equity, your growth in your properties to leverage. You want to get the highest amount of leverage possible to grow your property portfolio larger and larger. And the thing about equity is, with properties, not all markets move at the same pace, right? So you might have a property in Perth, or you might have a property in New South Wales, you might have a property in Melbourne, right? We have properties in all of these states, and obviously you can, if you have like a large portfolio, you can have properties in different suburbs, different areas, and all sorts of stuff like that. And the reality is, the more diversified your portfolio is, when it comes to growing your portfolio, it is going to effectively make it easier to move the portfolio forward. For example, whenever we want to buy the next property and grow our portfolio, if we just had one property and we wanted to use equity from that property to take it to the next step, we would go to the bank and say, hey, is there any equity in this property? And if they say no, we could go to another bank, and then another bank, and another bank. Maybe we'd go to 4 banks, and if by the 4th one there's still no equity, then we'd probably just give up after that point. But, fingers crossed, just of the 2nd or the 4th one at last, there is some equity in there for you in your property portfolio to grow your property portfolio. But, for example, that's what you can do with one property, right? But if we have 11 properties, we can get a bank valuation on 11 properties at 4 different banks. That's a whole lot more options to effectively move the property portfolio through leveraging equity growth to grow the property portfolio. That's a lot more options like that. What are the other options? So the other options, if you have one property, you have, you can, if the rental market increases, you can increase your rent. You want to keep your property portfolio income at market rate, right? You don't want to have a property that is in a marketplace where all the rentals that are comparable are at, say, $500 a week, and your one's at $300 a week. That's not really savvy investing. But you want to keep your property at market rent. Now, if you have one property, that's just, you have one option to increase your property's market rent. But if you have 11 properties like us, there's 11 opportunities to increase your income. So effectively what this video is about is just, as you build your property portfolio up, it does get harder and harder to get to the next level. You have to keep pushing through barriers. And, the first one's the hardest, and then, but it doesn't get easier. Like, the first one is the hardest, yes, but it doesn't get easier. You just have to keep overcoming more challenges. But the reality is, as you keep overcoming more challenges, you look back and you have a lot of more options at the end of the day. So that's it for today. If this video was helpful, just chuck us a like or a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Bye.